Hello all, good morning everyone. Um, Guys, am I audible? Can you please confirm?
Yes, you're audible.
Great, thank you. Good morning, good morning. So we met again then. Okay, great thing. We'll wait for 2 minutes. Let people join. I know this is the morning time. Just 2 to 3 minutes. Meanwhile, guys, do you recollect what was the last topic that we covered? Anyone? So I was actually struggling to find out what is the last topic we covered from our coding session. While loop with else statement, was it covered? This one. So actually what happened, no? From since our first session, right? That introductory session took 40 minutes. So this curriculum was was created for 2 hours only, right? And that 40 minutes took some of our topics in that day. So that's why got so can you recollect? I think this one we were checking, right? That indexing thing, then doing the product of the list. This I can remember. You guys can see my screen?
Yeah, Ashish.
And while loop, I think while loop, this one also we covered. No item left in the list. I think one program was there, so that I told you to go through this and try to understand. If you didn't, then I'll explain. I think from here, Python program.
Actually, no, sir. The same problem in using for loop, sir. That is divisible prime number or not. Call for.
Okay. So then that means we need to go one notebook back. I have 2.2. Yeah, 2.3.
For else command after that we are seeing that program that prime numbers checking.
Oh, okay. So I saw this kind of okay, this one, right?
Yes, this one.
Python program to display. Okay. Thanks. Okay. But this one is used break. I think break is in the next session. But else, if else, this is fine. Okay, I think this is not part of the. Great. So have you guys gone through this program and tried to understand what was there? Did you get anything from this program? Simple piece of code, right? Okay, it's 893. How many people join? Let's start. Because yeah, okay, we'll start then. Okay, what I'll do, I will explain this. Okay, whoever got it, not got it, that's fine. I'll explain this again. Python program to display all prime numbers within an interval. So the question is saying like you will be given two interval, or you can say you can take this as from as user input. Okay, like user need to add or give two numbers, and between that two numbers you have to find all the prime numbers. Now the prime number part, you recollect what is a prime number, which mathematical procedure define a number as a prime number?
The number is divisible by the same number and 1.
Correct. Great. So okay, so if you see this piece of code, okay, so first of all we are typing in the first line, we define two variable that is called index 1 and index 2. So this will be our interval. Okay, like this variable is the starting interval, this variable is the end interval. And we can change also this number, or we can define 20 and 50, right? And we printed out the numbers, prime numbers between this and this. Here, I hope I did not to explain this formatting part. This is making sense. Curly bracket, then format, variable for first. Yeah. Yeah. So for variable for first curly bracket, variable for second curly bracket. Now from here onwards, if you see, if you recollect the for loop, how we are, how we are
And
writing the.
Ashish, sorry to interrupt you. So like we have mentioned that format over there, right? So that format is helping us to, format the input or the stuffs, that variable to
Correct.
the required format, right? So what will happen if we were not giving that format over there and we were just mentioning index 1 and index 2? So is that will change the output of the program?
Uh, that means you need to remove this one. You are saying, right?
Yeah,
Like this.
like if we were like no, I'm saying that that R, after that we were giving a dot, and then that format and that
Index one
brackets
and
has
index
been
two.
taken out. Like with this, yeah, index comma 1 and index comma 2, like with this arguments only, like is it possible?
So this is just the print statement, and like we are just showing before the output, we are just printing the statement that prime numbers between this and this number are, then
Yeah.
our code, then it will show the results.
Yeah,
So,
I totally get it. What I'm asking is like after dot format was there, right? So if I taken out the format function and only I'm giving the like variables like index comma 1 and index comma 2,
oh,
I'm
okay,
asking
got
that.
it. Got it. Okay, so in another way, whether you will be able to write it or not, right?
Yeah, we can. That's what I'm asking. Like if I taken out the format function, is it will, impact the
So you can write like this. You can remove this thing,
mhm.
and this is also same.
Okay.
So I just missed. Yeah, if you see here, these two are some. So this is another way to write the print statement. If you remove the format here, you can write like this, and this will also print the index and index two. Correct, correct. So your understanding correct. So so better to use this way, because if you see here, we reduced few words, and this is a concise way of writing. So this is a new way of writing. You can do like this.
Okay.
Okay, so once this is defined, what you need to do, you need to write a for loop in the range of starting index and the last index plus one. So why we're taking plus one here? If you
Increment
remember,
operator, right? Like we were incrementing
It
the
will
number.
add the last number, that 52.
yeah, correct. So Ravi, right?
Yeah,
Ravi
yeah,
was saying, yeah. So
yeah.
not in, this is not for incrementation. This
Okay.
is to as I told previously, Python indexing starts from 0. So
Okay.
if you want to from 1 to 5, then you have to run it for 1 to 6. Then only it will be go till 5. So this is the logic. So that's why index 1, index
Okay.
2 plus 1, so that index 2 will be included. Okay. And after you create a for loop with this range, that means this for loop will run from this to index 2. And if the number is greater than 1, okay, what does that mean? That means our starting point is 1. And as per the logic of mathematics, either it should be divisible by 1 or itself. Then only it is going to be called as a prime number. So this condition will satisfy, it will start from 1. That means whatever number or for loop you are going to run from index 1, that should be start from 1. Just 1 second, guys. Yeah. and if this condition satisfies, that means if you start from index 1 and it is greater than 1, then what you are doing, please watch it carefully. Okay, please try to understand what I'm doing here. So I define a new variable inside the for loop. It is called is divisible. This is called is divisible. I define this variable. You can give any name. Okay, just to make you understand, I have given this variable name as is divisible. That means I am creating a flag here, like a red flag and green flag, right? So consider this is a flag to store a flag color. Okay, when I said flag color is false, that means it is red. Okay, and if I say is divisible variable equal to true, that means I'm changing the flag color to green. Okay, like that. I'm trying to make you understand. So consider this is a flag, and initially we are telling the flag color is red, just to make you understand. That means I'm making it false. Okay, so once this flag color we initiate in the for loop, then for index in range another, so what we are doing, so we are running another for loop. Another for loop for what? Another for loop to check from 2 to the number. So suppose this is 20 to 50. Okay, let's debug this line by line. Okay, because these are basic things. Once you understand this, you will be able to understand all the for loops and all. Okay, so please focus on this. Okay, so let's start from 20. Okay, the index is 20 now. So this is 20 to 51. Okay, and if number is greater than 1, that means first loop, for the first loop, what is the number? 20. 20 satisfies greater than 1. So if 20 greater than 1, so this condition satisfies, right? Then we are changing is divisible flag to false. So is divisible flag is now red. Okay, then for index in range 2 to number, so what does that mean? We ran another for loop. Okay, inside this for loop. Okay, I'll explain you how this for loop will work. Okay, once I'll explain few of the codes or programs, you will be familiar with this. So this for loop is inside this for loop. Okay, that means this for loop is the part of the original for loop. And what we did here in the inside for loop, we created another index. So these are, I told you initially, right? These are the temporary variables. Correct, temporary variables. So you can change it to any name. So for this temporary variable in the range of 2 to number. So in the first iteration, our number is 20.
20.
So this range ran from 2 to 20. Okay, here it ranged from 20 to 51. 50. And here it ranged from 2 to 20. Now if number equal number, so this is a mathematical operation. We'll cover this mathematical operation in detail. So what is this? This is modulo. Modulo means like
Remaining 0.
Remaining, not remaining 0. Remaining will be checked. What is the remaining? So suppose you are dividing 5 with 2. Then if you do 5 modulo 2, then the remainder will be 1, because 2 into 2 into 4 and remain 1. So this modulo will tell you the remainder of the number. If this equal to 0, that means I am checking if the number is divided by the index. That means the remainder will be 0. No, nothing apart from 0. Why I am doing this? Because I am running a loop from 2 to 20 and checking whether 20 number is prime or not, because my job is to check all the numbers between 20 to 51, right? So what I'll do, for 20 I will check from 2 to 20. Okay, similarly for 21 in the next loop I will check it from 22 to 21. Are you getting what I'm saying here? So for every number between this range, we will check or will run this for loop, which will check whether the number is divisible by itself or 1. because one is making sense. We need not to check for one, right? Our job is to check whether the number is not divisible by any other number apart from itself, right? That is our goal. So this inner for loop running for every number between this index to this index and checking whether it is divisible. That means the remainder is 0, whether it is divisible by any number between this range. So first loop, it is 2 to 20. Second loop, when this second loop will run, this will be 2 to 21. When third loop will run, this will be 2 to 22. Like this, it will go for how long? 2 to
50.
50, correct. And for every time, it will check whether it is divisible by something else or not. And if we found this is divisible, then what we are doing, we are immediately changing the flag color from false to true. That means now this was red, now this is green. Okay, so if this happens, that means the number is not prime number. Am I correct?
Yes.
So if this condition satisfies, that is not going to be considered as the prime number because it is divisible by some number in between this range. So prime number means either 1 or the number itself. In between, it should not be divisible by any other number. Okay, and at last, what we are saying, mark it carefully, if not is divisible. That means if it is not true. So when it is divisible, we are changing the flag color to green, right? So that means when it is not green, that means when it is not divisible by any number, that means when it is false, when the flag is red, we are printing the number. Okay, now before you understand it completely, please don't worry because we need to cover it in all detail while covering function and for loop and all. It is just the example. So my expectation from you to at least you familiar with the terminologies that I am using and a bit of the logic, like how I'm creating a flag and changing its value from false to true. So once it is true, I'm not considering it. When this is false, I am considering it.
Ashish, sorry to interrupt you. So, like, is divisible? You're creating the flag, right? Like, false true. So, what is the use of that flag actually that false true? Because this flag term is like, a little bit new when it comparing to the other programming languages for me.
Correct.
So that's what.
So this flag term, what I am saying, just to make you understand of this Boolean operator, how we are using this Boolean operator. So what we did initially, we defined this Boolean operator by assigning to a variable the term false, right? And
Okay.
whenever a condition satisfies, like when this is not a prime number, we are changing this Boolean to true value. Okay, so whenever the loop will start, initially what should be the Boolean value? False.
Okay.
Right? And when the number is divisible in between somewhere while running this inner loop, this Boolean value is going to be changed to true. But I need for those numbers where the Boolean value is false. I don't need inside the for loop when the Boolean value is true. That means I don't need that. So that means I'm holding a flag and telling whenever I post the flag in the red color, you consider those numbers as a prime number. Okay. When
So to tell the system that you need to give me the prime number when it comes false, if it is true, you can neglect it. If it is false, when the flag comes false, you need to print the number. That's what it is all about, right?
Exactly. I'm happy that you got that. Really great, guys. Great. So this is how, because this is a logic, guys. Like someone can teach you the syntax of the coding, but the logic and the understanding will come from your head. Okay, so this is a logic. Now if you will give the same question to another developer or someone knows another code, they can write in a different way. So like 5 persons can write in a 5 different type of logic here. Okay, so the point is to make you understand how you can, like, how the logic is working here. Now I can't say this is the only way that you can print the prime numbers. So many other ways are there. Okay, if you'll search this question in Google, you'll find so many. So what you can do, you understand this one and you try other methods, or search for a Python programming for the same question, and you will see how many different ways people try to solve that. And by that way only we able to grasp the coding, guys, because then only your mind will acquainted with this logic and terminologies. Now any question to understand this?
Yeah, and
Anyone?
also like in that syntax you have written, right? So in that print, in the last line,
This one, print
yeah,
number.
print num, and you have given a semicolon, right? So as we all know that Python will not, don't need that semicolon and stuffs, right? So is it
Yes.
mandatory
So
to give that
yeah, so you
semicolon
can
and?
remove that. No, you can remove that. So that was the old Python version. So this note I created when I started reading, right? So
Okay.
that's why you can remove that, will also work.
Okay, so on the if on that if loop and for loop also we can remove, or is it remains the same as the
No, no, no,
syntax?
no, no. This is not. You can't
Okay,
remove. This is the syntax.
okay.
So always remember, for the if you are running a for loop or if loop or while loop, this column should be there,
Okay,
and you should start from this indentation. The indentation should be correct, or else you'll
okay.
get the error.
Sure, sure.
Okay, so this is just the starting, guys. Please don't worry. Even if you didn't get it 100%, I am not expecting that you will get from 100%, but at least few things you understood right now, right? And if you see the outputs, 23, 29, 31, 37. So these are the numbers which is divisible by either 1 or themselves, not by any other number. Okay, this is one example.
Sir,
Now,
just one question. Like I'm
yeah,
getting confused in the for loop, like for and nested if you have given inside, right? So I'm
okay, so
getting
this
confused
is,
where it should start, where it should end.
okay, great. Okay, okay. No worries, no worries. So this is a nested for loop. You are correct. I forgot this term. Okay, so this is a nested for loop. So what is a nested for loop? So you write one for loop. This for loop will run from starting point, that is 20 to 51. Okay, that means every temporary variable from 20 to 51, this number will change. Like at first iteration this will be 20, at second iteration this will be 21, like this till it goes to 50, right? So this is clear. This for loop is clear. Now whenever one for loop, or one for every iteration, after every iteration, it will check whether the number is greater than 1 or not. Okay, and once this is satisfied, this condition is satisfied, you are running another loop. Now this loop is for what? This loop is to check whether between 2 to this number, any number is divisible by this number or not. So now can you tell me what will be the index value here? What is the range of variation of index if number equal to, suppose, 30? Suppose
Start from 2.
from start to 30.
2 to 30.
So
2 to 30.
whatever number you are checking in between this range, in this loop, again another loop will run, which will be from 2 to that number itself. Okay, and this values, it is a range of values, right? 2, then 2, 3, then 4, 4 till 30 it will go. I'm just talking about one iteration here. Okay, 2 to 30 it will go. So now this for loop will check whether between 2 to 34 any number is divisible by 34 or not. Because if that will happen, then that number, so this number is our target, right? We are checking for this number only, whether this is prime or not. And between 2 to that number, if any number is divisible by that number, then this is not going to be considered as prime number. And as soon as we encounter such situation, we are changing the indivisible variable to true. Okay, and if it is not true, then we are printing the numbers. Now, can you tell me if I will change this like this, I will remove the not, then can you tell me what are the outcomes or what will be the results?
Like the divided, like all the
We'll get the
divided
numbers
numbers
without
Other
and
prime
all
than
those
prime
numbers.
things.
numbers, we will get.
Yeah, we can get it.
Correct. So all non-prime numbers will be there. Okay. So we are capturing by writing not means we are capturing only prime number. So to summarize again, first for loop run from your range. So that means each number here, each number from this range, for each number in this range, we are running another for loop from 2 to that number till that number, and checking any number in between 2 to that number is divisible with the number or not. Making sense? Could I explain?
Yeah, understood. The first value actually, so it is 20. So then first after a first iteration of outer loop, and then the second loop will iterate all the elements, right? For every
Correct.
iteration of outer loop, there will be an iteration of from starting to from the inner loop, right?
Correct. You are 100%. So this for loop will range from 20 to 50, and when it is 20, then 21, 22. So these are each iteration. Like each iteration, the number will change the value from 20 to 23. Sorry, 20 to 23 like that. And whenever this is 20, this for loop is from 20 to 20. Sorry, 2 to 20. That means each number between 2 to 20 will be checked, and it will be checked by this, by the between the numbers 2, 3, 4 like this. It will check, and if it is divisible, we are considering that number is not prime. Okay. Similarly, when it will be 21, this range will be changed from 2 to 21, and every number between 2 to 21 will be checked, and it will be checked how 21 modulo this now in between the number. So this for loop is to catch the numbers between this range. This for loop is to catch the number between 20 to 50. Okay, so don't worry, because this is just the starting, and if you understood a bit of it, that is okay. Please don't worry. And those who are able to explain it from end to end, I'm really happy for them, because this is what you need to grasp. Those still some doubt, please don't worry. As we'll see more programs, you will be able to grasp it quickly. So without any delay, let's jump to our next program. Okay, let's leave it here. So whatever you got, just leave it here. So guys, is this 2 point, what was we seeing, 2.3 or 2.4? Okay, 2.2 we are seeing. Oh, okay. That was there, right? Just a minute. Okay. So see guys, in this, here the loop concept will be clear for you in the next here, like, because I am going to explain the loop concept again, so that the more you are going to encounter, the more you are going to understand. Okay, so without any delay, let's jump into the another loop. So you somehow you got to know about for loop, right? So there is another loop you can use, which is called while loop. Okay, and this is also one important thing. So the point is here, just try to understand the code. That's all. I'm not expecting you to write a code right now, because you are starting, those who are starting with the scratch, but try to understand the code that I'm explaining. Okay. So what is a while loop? First of all, let's see how it is the syntax. If you remember, for loop, right? For this in this range, then column, then with 1, 2 space or 4 space, we are writing the logic, right? Same thing. So when you write while some condition or some expression, then you give colon, then you write the logic inside that code. Okay, so without any delay, I'll jump to the code directly. Let's see, let's try to understand with the example. I created a list of numbers 10, 20, 30, 40, 60. Okay, and using while loop. So I think previously we have seen using a for loop, we got the total product of that numbers, right? So we can achieve the same using while loop. Okay, so what we did in for loop, we defined a product equal to 1. Can you recollect this line? Because we are going to multiply each element with another, right? So that's why just this line, this is the starting point. Like when the product means product 1 means this is the starting point. So as soon as if you remember, product equal to product into first element, then product equal to product into second element. I'm talking about the for loop. Okay, I'm not explaining the while loop right now. The for loop, to know the total product in a list. Can you recollect? We are defining one. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone saying anything? Okay. So, okay. So you said yes that you recollect. Okay. Sorry. So now here, little bit modification while using the while loop. In the only difference with for loop and while loop, that for loop, the iteration will run automatically. That means when you define for loop in a range of 2 to 20, that means it will run 2 in the first iteration, 3 in the next iteration, 4 in the next iteration. So here the iteration, you no need to worry about the iteration. It will automatically increment one by one. So 2, then 3, then 4. But using a while loop, this is not the condition. In the while loop, you have to increment the iteration manually. What do you mean by manually? That means you have to write a piece of code to go to the next iteration. So suppose I ran a for loop. So if I'll run a for loop, what I'll write? For index in range or index in list.
Len of list.
Okay, then I write print this, my logic and this like, right? So here index will change at the first iteration, it is 10, then 20, then 30. I'm not worrying about the index value here because it is automatically getting changed. But here, if you say, if you'll see here, I'll comment out to, not to get confused. If you say while loop, I define a index number at the beginning of the while loop. That means this is the while loop. Before running the while loop, I created a starting point. So one starting point to store product, one starting point to iterate over each list. Sorry, each element of the list. So this is the starting index. That means index equal to 0. But here when you wrote for loop, this index value will be automatically picking the first element. But here if you're seeing here, we are defining one initial index value, that is 0. Now why we're doing this, you will get to know when you understand while loop. So first of all, this is my list. This is my first initial value, product equal to 1. This is my second initial value where I'm storing the index numbers. 0 starts from 0. Then I write while loop. Now observe carefully how while loop was written. While means till this point. Okay, till what point? Till index less than length of the list. That means run this loop till this condition satisfies. And what is the condition? Whatever your initial index, that should be less than the length of the list. That means this index value starting from 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, like this it will run, and it will run till that point when this index number is less than the length of the list. What is the length of the list? 5. Okay, so whenever this index value is less than 5, this loop will run. So whenever the index value reach at equal to 5, then this loop will not run. Making sense?
And Ashish, like that list index will starts from 1 or 0, like
0. Always remember, Python starts from 0. Always.
yeah, so that it has a 5 index, but from 0 to 4 it has a 5 index, right?
So the index number will go from 0 to 4.
Okay.
But the length of the list will be 5.
Okay. And also you have written as index plus equal to 1, right? So do we able to do that line of code with the increment operator or stuff like index plus like that? If it also do the same work, right? Index number will be incremented, right?
Correct.
Do we able to do that?
Correct. So let me explain this line, then I'll come to this line. So this is
Okay.
I think you understood. Try to understand this one. That this one you already saw, I think, right? This will be product equal to product into list. So that means I'm accessing the elements here, right? If you recollect, this is how you can access the element of the list with index number. So I initialize the index number equal to 0. That means when I'll write list in the square bracket 0, that means I'm referring to 10, right? So this will be product equal to product into 10. So what is the product initial value? 1. That is 1 into 10. Now in the product variable, the value is 10. Now here, after this, we are incrementing the index value to next number. That's why this is index plus equal to 1. So what does this mean? I told you, right? And again, we'll see this also with examples in the next session, next notes. This means index equal to
Index plus 1.
Index plus 1.
Yeah.
Okay, either you write like this or you write like this. So that plus concept is there, I think, in C and C++, but here same thing we are doing with this index plus equal to 1.
So there is no increment and decrement operator in Python.
So increment and decrement, so this is an operator, this is an increment operator.
Okay.
So and don't worry, like we have the notes with extensively we'll discuss about all the types of operators that we have in Python. Okay, there we'll explain it with other operator. I'll explain this. So this is an operator. Okay. So instead of writing this whole line of code, I use this operator plus equal to 1. So this means index equal to index plus 1. Okay. Now every time the index is going to change. So initially it was 0, then after one iteration it will be 1, then in the next iteration it will be 2, like this. When the last number will be extracted from the list and the product is calculated, what will be the value of the index? When the last element is finished?
4.
Okay, so by that time, the index will be first 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. And at last, when it is finished, this will be index equal to 5. So as soon as index will be 5, then this condition is not going to satisfy. Because we have said index should be less than the length of the list. That means less than 5. Now the index number is equal to 5. Okay, then it will stop executing the loop. And if the condition will not satisfy, then this loop will run. So, but one common mistake people do while defining this condition, because this can lead you to infinite loop. Okay, if you don't understand it properly and say like if you do like this, index is greater than equal length list, can you imagine what will happen?
Yeah,
The
the
loop
program
will
will
again
never
go and
stop.
go.
So it will lead to you like a infinite loop. So there is a chance a infinite loop will occur and the code will run for more time in while loop. But I hope this is clear now to you, right? For a while loop. And at last we are printing the product. Not using the format, don't use the string formatted new version to print any statement. So at last you can say, okay, this is the total product of the list elements. Okay, and this is how you need to use a while loop. Do we have another example? Okay, now while loop with else statement. Okay, this is also, so we saw if else, right? And we saw for and else statement also we have saw, right? Similarly, you can write a while and else. And how you can write that? Let's consider this is the list. Okay, you are iterating over the list and running a while loop. You created a initial index number, that is 0. Okay, and you are going to increment this index number. So again, while index is less than the list of the numbers, that means 505, you print the number. And how to print that? You are accessing each element of the list through its index number. And once you write, you increment this value equal to +1. If you see here, +1. And what is our objective here? To print all the numbers in the list using a while loop. And once this is over, once it is coming out of the loop, then you can use a else condition to print this statement. That means here you can write another logic. The point here to make you understand what is while and else. So that means once the while loop is completed, you can write another logic in a else block. Okay, to show you that, I just wrote a print statement here, that we iterate over all the list and there is no item left in the list. And if you see here, we handle this with a else condition. Okay, so I run this loop. Once the loop is ran, you run this else block. This is one example to use while and else. Okay, any query on this piece of code? I think now it is easy for you.
Sir, in the else condition, we can write some statements to be executed also. We can check some condition.
Correct. So you can start a nested if else condition from here as well. So if you want to write if and or if, so you, that depends on the piece of code that you're writing, what you need to handle in the else statement. This is just to make you understand that you can do that. Okay, and you can write a nested if then some other condition, right? A greater than B, but we don't have variable for that, right? We are just iterating the list. That's why I'm not able to show you. But yeah, like this you can write if A equal to B, then print this. Okay, then like else, print this. So you can write, this is a nested while if else loop, right? While, then this is the else block, and in the else block you are writing another if else condition. You will be able to do it. Okay.
And Ashish, what is the difference between this for and while? Because if it is a if loop, if it is true, it will execute. If not, it will it won't execute. So for and while works in the same way, or what is the difference between these two?
So the first difference is already, I told you that every iteration you need to increment it. But if you see in the for loop, you are not incrementing the value, index value.
Okay, so it will automatically increments by itself.
Automatically increase. So actually, for and while loop has their own significance. So this is not, this will come when you spend more some time in coding, you are going to clearly understand when to use for and when to use while. Okay. So this expertise will come once you started spending more time in coding. But the point is here is, our aim of this session is to make you understand the logic, how this is working. Then once you see any code, you will be able to grasp it. So main difference is the auto incrementation in for loop, but there is no auto incrementation in while loop. And in the for loop, here we are just, and another difference is, we are auto incrementing. That means we have to have one starting index number, starting point from where. So whenever you write a while loop, make sure that you initiated the initial value, then you increment that value. So that means I started with 0, then I incremented from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, like that. This is the main difference with for and while loop. Okay, and this is the same code but writing in a while loop, guy. So guys, so if you this is a good example now. So what we are going to do, we are going to take the user input and store this in a variable called num, and it will tell you, I'll show you how this is work. So if you run this code, this piece of line of code is telling me to enter a number. And how is that possible? That is possible because of the input function in Python. So whenever you write input, then in the bracket you write the message to the user and store this in a variable called num. And if you observe carefully what I am doing here, I am taking the user input here and making it to a integer. This is an integer function, and inside the integer function, I have wrote the input, enter a number. That means whatever number user will enter, that is going to be converted to a integer. Now, why I am doing this? Why I am converting this to integer?
Input function will only get the a string
Correct.
as the input.
Correct. So if you don't do it, if I enter a number 12, suppose 12, then this 12 is not going to be considered as number. It is going to be considered as a string. Okay, so that means if this is a string, then I am not able to check this divisible and all this mathematical stuff. So that's why we need to change this from string to integer. If you recollect how we are changing from one type to another in our first few session, similar thing we are doing here. We are changing the user input value from string to integer. Now, why I did this? How I got to know I need to pass this from integer? Because when you try without this, you are going to get the error, and that error will be very specific. Okay, let's see that. Okay, let me run it again. So I am not going to convert this to a integer. I ran this. So n, and I typed 12 and I entered. Now, if you see here, the type of error that we are getting here, this operator not supported between instances of integer and string. That means what is happening when we are checking I less than number and our number is a string. Here it is an integer, here it is a string. So integer can't be compared with a string, right? Because those are two different things. So if you don't do it, you will get a error like this, that the instances is not an integer. So to do this, to make it correct, you have to write integer first. So now it is going to work. Okay, now if we'll put a number, it will run the code. Now let's try to understand. Hope this input part is clear, guys. It is the user input that we are going to store. Okay, and again, I'll remove these things because these are Python 2. Now the advanced version need not to. Okay, now if you see here, again, is divisible flag, right? We are making it to false, right? And I equal to 2, what does that mean? We are creating a starting point. Now why I choose a starting point from 2, guys?
Because one we can't
because I am going to write the logic to check whether the number is divisible by 2 and more, not by 1, because every number is divisible by 1, right? So from 2 onwards, I will check whether that number is divisible by any other number or not. And if you see here, and this is going to make sense once you understand this, I define I equal to 2 and I want to run the loop while I less than number. And what does that mean? That means
2 less than any number.
any number. Suppose 12, you consider 12 here. So run this loop till 2 less than 12. So satisfied, then it will check whether the number is divisible by 2 or not. If it is divisible, we are changing the flag to true. Okay, but if it is not divisible, then we are okay. Let me explain line by line. Okay, so this line is clear while 2 less than number, right? 2 less than 12. If 12 modulo, like 12 is totally divisible by 2, then changing the flag to true. And if it is divisible, immediately write that this number is divisible by 2. That means, so what is the difference between our previous code and this code? Here, after the flag color is green, we are immediately typing the number. That means we are telling why the number is not a prime number, because it is divisible by I equal to 2. And after printing this, we are incrementing the I value, because our while loop should run till I is less than the entered number, right? So here I value will be 2, from 2 it will be 3, right? Now once it is 3, again it will run the loop. 3 is less than 12, yes. If 12 is divisible by 3 or not, yes, because
Yes.
completely divisible. Then we are changing the flag and typing, okay, 12 is divisible by 3. Okay, then we are again incrementing, going to 4. 4 is divisible by 12, yes, we are printing that. 5 is divisible by 12, no, right? So when I equal to 5, this condition is not going to satisfy, right? This condition is not going to satisfy. And once this condition is not going to satisfy, then it will type this one. It will check this one, if is divisible. So what we mean by if is divisible? That means we are checking whether the flag is red color or green color. So when I say if is divisible, I am checking for true or false?
Yes. True.
True. So when this is true, you write this, because we already saw 12 is divisible by 2, 3, 4, 6. So definitely this is not a prime number. That means the flag is true. So once the flag is true, or is divisible variable is true, then we are printing this is not a prime number. Okay, because 12 is divisible by 2, 12 is divisible by 3, 4 and 6. So it is divisible by so many things. So now let's try to give a prime number. What is the prime? 11, right? So here what is happening? It is starting from 2, checking whether 2 is less than 11 or not, and 2 is divisible by 11 or not, because this condition is now not going to satisfy this condition. So the flag value will be still false till I equal to 10, right? So till I equal to 10, this condition is not going to satisfy, right? So once this is done, now what is the flag value? False.
Yeah,
So,
false.
So if flag value is true, then print this, else print this. Print what? The number is a prime number, because it is not divisible by any number between 2 to 10. Now, as I said previously, you can achieve the same logic or same situation by writing different kinds of code. So there we wrote a for loop to do the same. Here we wrote a while loop to do the same. Okay, but the end objective is same for both. And this is to just to explain how for loop and while loop is working. So I know, like I'm seeing you guys are like grasping it very quickly. So I hope you will learn this coding very soon. Have you started doing any codes in Codekata? Any
Yes,
course
sir.
or
It's
what
very
like this?
basic level.
So this for loop, while loop is have you started?
For loop started, sir.
Great. So I hope you will be, now it will be very much easy for you to do a coding in for loop and while loop, because now you understand what's happening, right? Any query to understand this logic?
So one question is that why
Yeah.
is that I plus is equal to 1 outside the if loop? It can be below, right below the print statement.
Okay, that is a very good question. Now you are saying like this one, right?
Yeah.
So see what is happening. If we'll do this, so if you see here, you are generating a infinite loop here because of this. Can you tell me why this is happening? What is the value of I after 4?
After 4, 12,
After 4, so what is happening? Okay, what is happening
5.
when I equal to 2? This is satisfied, this is true, right? And the number is divisible by 2, you print it out, right? You print it out. Then immediately what you are doing, you are changing the value I to I plus 1, right? Now the I value is 3, right? And it is divisible by the number. Now you printed 12 is divisible by 3. Then again you change inside this, after the print statement it is to 4. Now it is divisible by 4. Now when 5 is coming, I is less than number, and if number is divisible by 5 or not. Not. So what is happening?
Because
This
the
Is
file is
divisible equal
odd
to
number.
false.
So what is happening? So this piece of line is not executed, like it is not going to be true. But what
Yes.
is happening?
It's
This is
incrementing,
still incrementing. And that's why it is creating an infinite loop now. Now it is running, and I value is continuously getting changed. So
Understood.
that's why it should be outside of this for loop, or else you will be there forever, stuck in the loop. Okay, so that's why you have to write this I plus 1 increment outside of the if condition. Okay, but inside the while loop. So this is one whole loop. Okay, but here increment should be after this if condition. If we'll immediately do the increment after print segment, this will lead to an infinite loop. Could I explain?
One more question, sir. When should we use for loop and while loop? How to determine it?
This is purely depend upon you. So as I said, you like as I told you, we did the same thing using for loop and while loop. Now you tell me what procedure you're going to follow. Like which one you like, for loop or while loop?
For loop. For loop.
Okay, then that makes sense. And someone other will say, no, I like while loop. I like the preciseness of the code, and this is very like few lines of code, so I like while loop. But the question that the objective is whatever you like, you have to achieve this end result. So there is no such thumb rule that here you need to write a for loop, here you need to write a while loop. This based on your expertise or your comfortness, like how you want to achieve the result. Okay,
And
but yeah.
sorry to cut you off. Actually, so you have mentioned that is divisible is equal to false or true, right? Okay, I can understand that is a flag. So is divisible, like is that a predetermined term, is divisible, or we can use any other terms also there?
Any other. It is just to make you understand that it
It's
is
also kind of a variable.
like yeah, it is a variable only. You can write x also, and here what you need to change x. That
X,
means x
and
value is true. Yeah,
in the beginning also we have to change, right?
correct. Here also you need to change to x. So this is just a variable.
Okay.
But you won't be able, you won't be confused about the variable assignment here. So you might be saying like, why this is true, we are assigning a
Okay,
true and
okay.
false. So that's why I'm using a term called flag.
Easy. Okay, okay.
Okay, so also this is a flag actually, because we are this is actually a checkpoint. So checkpoint means this is false. When this condition satisfied, change this checkpoint to true.
Okay.
Okay, so this is just a logic to understand. Okay, yeah, anyone saying any other thing?
So do we use the while loop with the range function?
Sorry, I'm missing a few of your words. Yeah.
Do we use the while loop with the range function?
Do we use the while loop in the for loop?
It's a range function, range.
Range. See. Yeah. Actually, you made a very good point here. One more difference you can observe here while running the for loop.
Actually, I have observed some code about some code because they have been using that while we don't know the number of iterations, then they are using that while loop. And if we know the number of iterations, that they are using the for loop.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, you are right. Absolutely right. One more thing I forgot to tell you. Thanks for this point. If you observe carefully in the for loop, for I in range, right? Range from 20 to 50. Here we know the range, right? We know the limit of I and the end starting and end point of this loop. But if you don't know till how much it will go, okay, you can see here. So we are not giving any range here. We are just telling that till this satisfy, you run it. Now from where to where you are going to run, that is not going to be a problem. But till this condition satisfy, so this is basically a range we need to define initially. That's why we are not auto incrementing this. Sorry, no, we are not manually incrementing this. It is incrementing automatically. But here we don't know the range. That's why we are incrementing it at every iteration. This is also one good difference. Thanks for this. Okay guys, so I hope now you have a basic understanding about loop, while loop and for loop. What we have next, so this is one important thing in Python, how to use a break and continue statements. Now why we need and why we need a break and continue statement, guys? Because of these loops, right? So it is not always the case that every time you have to run the whole loop. So sometimes while running the loop, you can skip the loop, or you can break the loop, or you can come out of the loop. Because suppose in a list of element, I am looking for a specific element. So I am iterating over that list. Whenever I found that particular element, I don't want to run the iteration next to the next number. So immediately what I want to do, I want to come out of the loop and print my required number that I found, or what is my end number, right? So in this case, this break and continue is going to help you. Now let's try to understand with an example. Okay, what is the syntax? In Python, syntax are very simple. Just the word break. Okay, you write this word break, your code will stop. Like the loop execution will be stopped. Now see here how we are writing break and continue here. Now Python program to check given number is prime number or not using a break statement. Same thing, but you will use a break statement here. I'll remove this one. Okay, only difference between our previous code and this code is this break statement. So what does this mean? This means if you see, let me give the input again. Just 1 minute, it is connecting. See what is the difference here. And what is the difference here? When I gave 12, what is the output? 2, 3, 4, 6. But our objective is to check whether 12 is a prime number or not, right? So when it is divisible by 2, that time itself it is decided that 12 is not a prime number. Even if we won't check these three things, then also it is a prime number. Do you agree with me? Right? So as soon as 2 is divisible by 12, 12 is not a prime number, it is concluded. You need not to check it for 3 and 4 and 6. So this iteration is unnecessary.
Yes.
Right? So why we are breaking it, or why we don't need this? One more thing I just want to share with you. When you have some experience in coding, okay, and whenever you going for any question or company or interview, they will, apart from your coding knowledge, they will also check how efficiently you are writing the code. That means every time you are iterating over a list or doing an iteration, it is consuming some processing unit inside your system. It is consuming your CPU and processing unit, right? So companies are running on, cost associated resources. Like every computation can cost some money to the company. Okay, so that's why they are looking for some people who can write the code, but in an efficient way. You need not to write unnecessary lines of code or unnecessary complete computation. Okay, and your code should complete within a, like, as fast as possible. So I write a code, you write a code, like 2-3 persons write a code. It will be checked whose code is giving the result as soon as possible or quickly. That is called your time complexity. Whose code is giving me less time complexity? The time complexity should be less. Okay, so using this continue and break statement, this is a very small thing. Okay, this is a very small thing, but this is a very vital thing to understand here. People can say, like, why I need to use break? Let it run. What is the wrong in letting it run the whole code? But you are unnecessary using or iterating over these three. Okay, so that's why what I'll do, as soon as I find it is divisible by 2, I will stop running the loop and I will come out of it. Okay, to achieve this, you need to write a break statement. So as soon as it will find, so if you write 12 and hit enter, what is happening? Once it is find it is divisible by 2, okay, and printed out 12 is divisible by 2, immediately it is stopping the loop and coming outside of while loop. So this means stop everything, come outside of this. Now is divisible parameter will be true here because this is divisible by true. As per the is divisible parameter or the flag, you can say this is a prime number or not a prime number. Okay, why it is not a prime number? 12 is a prime number, right? What is happening here? Is divisible is true. Oh,
It's not a prime number.
oh. Okay, correct. I am getting confused now. Okay, so 12 is not a prime number, right? Right. So I thought otherwise. Okay, so 12 is not a prime number, and because the flag is true here, right? The flag is true here. So this means it is true, and based on this condition, you are writing this divisible by 2. The point is how to use a break statement here. Did you get how we use the break statement here? And this is nothing but just write break. That in between one loop, you don't want to run the whole loop. You just write a break where you want to break the loop. And it will stop there immediately. It will come out of this. Now one person write the same code in this format and one person write in this format, right? So this will take some longer time and this will take shorter time to tell you this is a prime number or not. Do you agree with me?
Yes.
The one with the break statement.
Correct. The one with the break statement will get lesser time to execute. Okay, so that's why this code, you can say a robust code or efficient code to write the for loop. So always try to remember when you are going for a loop kind of structure. If you don't want to run the whole loop, then you can use break. Now, what is continue then?
It helps us to skip iteration, right?
Correct, correct. The only difference between a continue and break is it will help to skip the iteration, but not the loop. Please mark my word. Here, using break, you are coming out of the loop. Okay, but in continue, when you write a continue inside a loop, that means skip that iteration, but run the loop. And how to verify that? Let's observe this example. These are the numbers in a list. Okay, and I am iterating over each number in the list. What I am checking here, whether the number is divisible by 2 or not. So if it is true, or if the number is divisible by 2, then continue. So if I write a break here, what will happen? So when it will reach 2, then it will stop. Only executed for 1. Right? But if I'll use a continue statement here, please observe here what I did. Continue here. So when any number inside the list is divisible by 2, then continue. That means skip that iteration. So when this is first number is 1, it is not divisible by 2, and you print the number. Okay, when it is 2, it is divisible by 2, then you skip this iteration but run the loop. That's why, so if you see here, for every iteration, what we are doing, we are just printing the number, right? So when 2 is here, then it is not going to print that number. That means for that iteration, it is keeping this function, keeping this iteration inside the for loop. Okay, so once this is done, you can say else print. This is a else block. So this is actually not not to the context, just for that. But if you see here, this one 135. So what we are doing here? Any questions to understand this? So did you able to grasp what is the main difference between break and continue? Now, guys, I have two program here to make you understand using break and continue. Okay, just give me 1 minute. I'll take some water. Just 1 minute. Okay, guys, in that. Okay, let's try to understand this logic. So before we start understanding, do you know how we convert a decimal to binary? Well, first of all, what is a decimal number? What is a binary number?
Decimal point number.
And binary?
Zeros and ones.
Zeros and ones. Yeah, correct. No, I am expecting this answers only. Okay, nothing specific. So you are correct. So, but how we convert in mathematics? So what we do, okay, I'll make you understand the mathematics here. So what we do to convert a decimal number, suppose 12, what we do, we divide this with 2. Okay, so what is this? 2 is 6, 12, right? 0. So how this conversion happens? You divide this with 2, because we are converting from decimal to binary. The base is here 2, right? And So after dividing, whatever is the remainder, the binary representation for that will be string of the remainder, that means 0 plus binary representation. So here I am writing a empty string. This is a empty string. Always remember this. If you encounter this type of things, that means you are creating a empty string. Now why I'm creating an empty string? To store the values inside this empty string. Now if you see here, decimal number not 12, it is like, let's take 10. Okay, what is happening while the decimal number is greater than 0, not equal to, guys, greater than 0? So 10 is greater than 0, right? This is satisfied. What is the remainder? 10 to the, sorry, 10 5. What is the remainder? 0, right? This variable will contain what value? 0, right?
Yes.
Do you agree, right?
Yes.
So the binary representation is now with this. Now it was initially an empty binary representation, empty string value. Now after you find the remainder, you converted the remainder to a string format and you added to the empty string. Now what is the binary representation we have? Like this. So from this empty string, we captured to this. Now what is the next step to convert a decimal number to binary? You do a this is called your floor division. This is called your floor division. Now what is a floor division? So suppose I am
6.
correct. So this is the value. This is the value. This is the remainder. What do we call this in the mathematical term?
Quotient.
Quotient, correct. Quotient. So this value will calculate the quotient. Now the decimal number was 10 and we captured the remainder. Then we divide it by 2 and take the quotient only. That means 6 only. And our decimal number is now changed from 10 to 6. Okay. Now the decimal number is changed to 10 to 6. If you see this piece of line, this means from decimal number 10, you are changing the decimal number to 6. Okay. So again, if decimal number is equal to 0, then break the loop. Else continue. Like it's not mandatory to write the else here. You can, if this condition doesn't satisfy, then you continue. Continue means you can go to the next iteration by skipping that iteration.
But then you should be out of the list, right?
Then we should give. Sorry.
Like that continue should be like out of the feature. It should be right.
It should be outside of the outside of this loop, you are saying.
Yeah.
So it is
You have
outside.
mentioned it.
It is outside the if loop, right?
Yeah.
So
That's what I'm asking. We should mention it outside of there.
Correct. So see, what is inside, that should be after few spaces or indentation. What is outside, that should, you mark this piece of crusher. Okay, this crusher and this crusher, these are all same line of code. Okay, and if this if and continue are inside the while loop. Okay, and whenever you see one word is exactly equal, like if you see the if crusher and the C crusher, the space between these two are same. That means this continue is outside of this if condition. Okay, so now back to our steps. Okay, so we changed from decimal number 10 to 6. Now again this loop will run because now decimal number is changed, right? And it is greater than 0. Again, what you are going to do? You will do 6 12. This is 3, this is 0. So what is the remainder? What we have initially? 0, right? Again from here, what is the remainder? We'll get 0 and we'll add to this. So now this will be changed to 0, 0. Do you agree? 0, 0, right? And again decimal number will be changed to, what is the value? What is the value now here?
3.
3.
3, right? Now the decimal number is 3. Okay, and we are checking whether the decimal number is 0 or not. No, right? Then we go to the next iteration. Okay, and once next iteration, decimal number is 3 and 3. Now here 3, then 2. So you observe here, every time to make it binary, we are dividing this by 2. Now why I am saying this, when you will do the reverse engineering, when you will do from binary to decimal, then what we need to do? We need to multiply with 2. Okay, so every time we are dividing this by 2 and whatever with the quotient. Now if you see here, what is the value here? What is the remainder? It will be there 1.
1.
So when the decimal value is 3, the remainder is 1. Now this value will be changed to 0, 0, 1. Right? And the decimal number will be, what should be the decimal number? So this function means
1.
not 1, because this function means you round up towards negative infinity. That means if I'll do 1 by 2, so now my decimal number will be 1 by, so if when I do 1 by 2, this value will be 0. 1 floor modulo 2, because this, if I'll do 1 by 2, this value is 0.5, right? If we'll go to the negative infinite, what is the value? 0, nearest integer. Negative in towards the negative infinity and the nearest integer. So when my decimal value is, my decimal number is 1, when it is 1 and I go to the next iteration. So guys, when the decimal number is 1 and you go to the next iteration, this condition satisfied? What is the remainder here? 1 modulo 2, right? Right, guys? 1 modulo 2. 1 modulo 2 is what? What is the value?
2 equal to
0, right?
One.
The remainder will, like, now this is greater than 1, right? So what will be the remainder here?
0.
1, right?
0 or 1? Please. So suppose I do like this, what will be my remainder? This is the question. Because
1, right? Because there is
1,
operation was happening.
right? So that means when this is 1, what you are going to add here? 0, 0, 1, 1, right?
And ask is like this floor division and modular division, how these things work, because this is confusing me a lot. And
Correct. And
yeah.
so this floor division and modular division, that's why, see, it is not there in your modules for this, but that's why, because I know this confusion will happened with me also. That's why I totally made a totally one notes for the operators.
Okay. Get it.
Plus minus everything is there. So we'll go through this. So my
Sure.
objective today was to complete this at least. Okay, all the operator, assigning operators, mathematical operator. So don't worry, we'll cover this one. This is just to make you aware how to. So please understand here, we are just running about continue and break. Okay, that's the motive here, because in the next notes you will see how to how to do the membership operator and all. There when you see bitwise operator, here the bitwise operator acts when you convert the decimal to binary. Okay, bitwise operator won't work on the numbers itself. First of all, it will convert the number to binary format, then it will do the bitwise operator between two numbers. So that's why I added this conversion using break and continue, so that you will understand how the break and continue work, one point, and also you know how to convert decimal to binary in form of a code. Okay, so please don't worry if this is happening. This floor module and all will cover this with detail. So here you just try to understand every time we are checking whether this is greater than 0 and we are dividing this with 2, whatever the remainder we are adding in a string. That's all we are doing. And as soon as the decimal number will be 0, when the decimal number will be 0, when the decimal number value will be 1. So 1 floor modulo 2. 1 4 modulo 2 means 1 4 modulo 2 means, what does this mean? The remainder is 1, right? And floor modulo 2 means it will be 0. That the floor modulo 0 means, like, we are doing 1 by 2 here, right? What is the value of 1 by 2? 0.5. So floor modulo will always be the nearest integer of your division towards negative infinity. That means not this side. So the nearest integer of 0.5 is what? To this side is 1, right? And what is the nearest integer of 0.5 towards this direction? I'm talking about the number line here, guys.
0.
0, right? So the floor modulo always towards negative infinity of the number line to the nearest integer. Okay, so that means when the decimal number is 1, this value will be 0. Okay, so once this value is 0, then we used a break statement to come out of the while loop and we printed the output. Now let's verify. See, there are some tools also online to convert binary to decimal and the decimal to binary. If you want, you can do what? You can cross verify whether this code is working, or whether, because this is a code we wrote to convert from decimal to binary. There are people have created tools also. So if you see here, decimal points tens binary representation is 1010.
Sir,
Yeah.
actually, we have some directories or tools already stored in. Do we have some binary also in Python?
To convert it, right? Decimal to
Yes,
binary.
if it if it is already stored, we can directly download it from the dictionary or directory something, and we can print. Is there that thing in Python?
So you mean to say any modules are there which can convert directly?
Yes.
Yeah, it should be.
Yes.
But I have not explored it. But yeah, it may be, because nothing is impossible these days, guys. Okay. So let me check. Okay, module for binary to.
I thought of, instead of having these many floor division, model division, we can directly do it.
No. See, the thing is, why I have written this to make you understand about break and continue.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
There should be some libraries, no doubt. Okay, maybe binary decimal, maybe. I am not sure. Is there any library or not? Let me check. Okay, let me check. But why I have done this, to make you understand about break and continue. Okay, and the logic. You're not supposed to understand. If you're not getting, also I'm not expecting you are getting here. That is fine. Okay, just try to understand where I using break and continue. Okay, so that when I say the bitwise operator, you will be able to understand how this is working. Okay, because this is what happening in the background. This is what happening in the background when you input any decimal number and when the conversion is being takes place.
Yes,
okay?
We can understand now, but when we try to do it by ourselves, there we have lots of confusion in the floor division. All that we are getting all the errors. That's
no worries. We'll cover this and we'll see. Okay, once I cover this, let's see whether you have in some good understanding or not. Okay. Okay, so similarly guys, I'm not going to explain this again because this is not necessary for you right now. Okay, again, using break and continue, you can convert from binary to decimal, and there the only difference will be every position here will be multiplied with 2 and added up the what the remainder, not remainder, the digit. So see guys, I'll quickly explain this. So this is one of my binary number. Okay, what is the format? 111 000. Okay, decimal representation is 0. Now this I am starting a starting point of decimal representation, that is 0. Okay, and I am looping through this string. This is a string. I am looping through this string with a for loop. Okay, so this is my temporary variable, which will be 1 in the first iteration, then 1. And if the digit is not in the form of 0 or 1, you can say this is an invalid binary number, because you know binary number is a combination of 0 and 1, right? And you used a break statement here to come out of that loop. If your given number is not in the binary format, then no need to run the loop again or go inside the loop. So immediately you wrote a break statement that this is a invalid, you print that this is an invalid binary number. Okay, suppose I give it 6 here. Okay, suppose I give a 6 here, invalid binary number, and you can see I came out of the for loop. Okay, and what is it printing? Decimal number is 28, but it is running through this loop. Okay, and decimal representation is your 0 into 2. Guys, can you try to understand what is happening here? Maybe I am getting bit of confusion here. Did I write it correctly or not? 0 into 2, then the digit. Okay, and when we are doing here, we are multiplying the decimal representation and plus the integer value of the digit. So what is the, in the first loop, what is the value, guys? What is the so this is actually okay, I got now. This is actually running till this one, and as soon as it is encountering 6, it is stopping. So that means it is taking the value till this one. If I'll run this will be 28. Correct. So if I'll give the 6 at the beginning, now this won't work and it will say it is an invalid binary number, because the first number itself is not binary, right? So what is happening? 0 at the first iteration equal to 0 into 2, that is again 0, then integer value of the first position, that is 1. So what is the decimal representation value in the first iteration?
1.
Correct, 1. Then next one, again decimal representation into 2, that is 2 into 1, 2 plus 1. Now this is 3, right? Like this, because this is the logic, this is how you convert binary to decimal. As you guys said, like this is to just make you understand about the code. You need not to write every time when you convert this. This is just for the starting part. Okay, and this is how, by iterating everything again, multiply with 2 and write the sum the digit, at last you will get the decimal number. Okay, let's not go deep inside it, because I can understand here the operators are the most common thing that you need to know. Then only I think this will make sense to you better. Okay, so without any delay, let's jump to the operator part here, because this is one hell of important part you need to. So how many operator we are here, guys? Like arithmetic operator, relational operator, that is comparison, Boolean operator. So I'll tell about what is a Boolean operator, bitwise operator, assignment operator, and some spatial operator in Python. Okay, let's try to understand each one of them. First of all, arithmetic operator, this is very simple. Okay, and plus, minus, multiplication, division, we know, right? But modulo is the remainder. This is your what? Floor division, right? Floor division. So I think now you got to know what is a floor division.
Quotient.
Correct. But that should be towards the it should be a integer value. You will round up the value, but towards the negative infinitive integer. So when I say 10 and 20, what is the floor division? Tell me.
Two.
What is the modulo and what is the floor division? Don't use the code, just in your mind you try, because you are getting confused,
0.
right? Okay. And why it is so?
For modulo will have the remainder, and for the floor will have the quotient, right?
10 modulo 20.
10 modulo 20.
Why is that? Because 10 ones are 10 and the remainder was 10, right? And I'll change to this, then what should be the value? You are saying 0, is it?
Now it will be 0. Okay.
Remainder is 0. The quotient will be 0.5.
So
But
I
it is
think
a
you are
floor
getting
division, that's why it is taken.
and if I'll change this number from this to this in the 20, then 10.
That is 2.
So here the value will be 2, right?
Yes.
And if I'll do this with modulos, then
0. 0.
great. I think now you have some understanding here. Now onwards, you won't be getting confused in this too, right?
So basically, modulo is a remainder and floor is a quotient, right?
Quotient, correct. That is the main logic. And what is the exponent, guys?
Finite value.
Correct. To the power. Suppose I wrote 2 to the power 3. What does that mean? 2 into 2 into 2, right? So if I write 2 like this, it will be 8. So this double star means to the power. Because in writing we can write like this, but in code this is difficult to write on top of 2, right? 2 to the power 3. So this is how you are going to use the power concept, 2 to the power 3, when you say double star. Okay, so when I say 10 to the power 4, how I should write?
10
And star 4.
Okay, so these operators is now properly explained. Arithmetic operator.
Yes.
Okay, now let's go to comparison operator. Now this one also you are familiar. If you remember the condition we checked, so the comparison operator should return a Boolean type data. That means true or false. So if you recollect our conditions that we are putting, if this condition satisfy, that time what we are checking, whether this is a true or false. That means the condition is checking the Boolean value. The Boolean value true or false. If true, continue with the statements below. If false, then continue some other statements below. That is the logic, right? So comparison operator. And if you remember in the initial class, we are talking about equal to and equal to, right? So equal to is like assigning. Here equal to is a comparison operator, that you are comparing whether this is equal to this or not. You are not assigning a value. So every operator will give you, or every comparison operator will give you a Boolean value. Either, so if you see here, what is the A value? 10, B value 20. I want to print A less than B, which is true, right? So if you print this, it is true. Suppose I want to write A equal to B. What is the value should be? False. So these are the comparison operator whose end result will be a Boolean value, that you need to understand. And what is this? This operator is not equal to. When you want to check whether it is equal to or not equal to. This is not equal to, and A is not equal to B. It is showing true. Why?
True.
Not
A
equal to
and
B.
A and B are not same.
Right. So A is not equal to B. And if what is the next? This is greater than equal to.
Yeah.
So A is greater than equal to B or not?
False.
No. Okay. It is less than equal to true. Okay. So these are your comparison operators. Any query on this? I hope this is very easy to understand, right? So what happened? Arithmetic operator went, comparison operator. What operator left? Logical operator. So what is a logical operator? Logical operator means your and or. So I am going to tell you this one. Maybe you know this. It's a simple mathematics. So and means both should be x and y.
Yeah.
1 1. Then this is 1. If it is 1 0, then it is 0. That means when both are same, then that number should be there. If it is 0 and 0, it is 0. So this is a AND condition. Okay. What is the OR condition? For say exactly same, what is the OR condition? I will write 1 or 1.
True.
Yeah. Until 0 0, everything will be true.
Right. So this is the OR condition. So this is the logical operator. And there is another logical operator called NOT. Okay, NOT, and or and not. Okay, so let's see this example here. Let's see this example here. A is true, B is false. So I am assigning. So here I am assigning A and B as a Boolean value, not a number, right? So A is true, B is false. A and B. That means it will be false, right? When both are true, then only it will be true. Or rest of the time it will be false.
Is that the logical operator will only work on the Boolean values? Not like that, right? So it will also work on the numbers also.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And when you do that, what will happen? This bitwise, how this is going to work? It is going to work in a bitwise operator. So if you will type here, that's a good question actually. Let's try to understand with example. Okay, what is the number? Let's see 10
20,
right? Why it is throwing an error? Okay, indentation. Now if I'll print A and B. See, so what is happening here? What is happening? Like what is the output we got? A and B, that is 10 and 20 is 20.
yeah.
Okay, but you should not be using this with a number. Okay, here if we'll use a bitwise operator. Now this also symbolize AND.
Get it. Okay.
Here you will get the
0. Get it.
Okay, so in this case, what will be A or B? This is true, false. So
True,
right? Okay. So I think this is making sense. Now, when we are going to use not, I'll show you. So when we say not, what does that mean? Just do the opposite. Like if it is true, make it false. If it is false, make it true. So if I write print, okay, not A, what does that mean?
it'll give as a false.
False, because because this is a true initially. By giving a not operator, this means the opposite to that, right? If it is true, it is false. False, it is true. Now these things, so now this is and or and not are explainable here, right? You can understand. Now what to do with integer type data? We want to do the operators and or and not, but in a integer type data, these are the Boolean type data. Okay, So what will happen if we'll do a bitwise operator? If we'll give a decimal number, then in the background, Python will convert this decimal to binary. That means in the form of 0 and 1. Okay. Suppose 10 is the combination of 0 and 1, and it will make 4 also in the combination of 0 and 1. Then it will perform the bitwise AND operator. Okay. And the bitwise operator. So what is the difference here? That every time this is the decimal point is going to be converted to binary number. Okay. And how the bitwise operator defined with these symbols. What is the symbols here? This is and this is or this is not. Okay. What is this? This is, I think, XOR. Okay. XOR. So what is a XOR gate? Anyone knows what is a or we know, right? What is XOR? Quickly, as I told, have I
Not
told you?
and or, sir. Not
Correct.
and or combined
So to
together.
make you quickly, I will follow the image searching process here. If you see here, this piece of image, when both are same, it is 0, right?
Yes.
Okay. And can you spot out the difference of
So
here
it's simply the output is not of or. We got
not
0 triple 1, no? So it will be 1 triple 0 like that.
See, that's why there is a catch here. Here, if you see, when both the things are different, then it is 1. If both the things are similar, then it is 0. That is XOR. Okay, it is not the negation of or the opposite of or.
Sorry, that is NOR. It's it is XOR.
Okay. You said about NOR, right? Correct. So NOR gate. So what is the NOR gate? You said 1 triple 0. Exactly opposite to OR gate, right? So this is XOR. We call it a XOR, right? So what is a XOR gate? XOR gate means when both are different, then it is 1. When both are same, then it is 0. And this is what happening here. This A XOR B. So what is happening?
Either of the input should be 1 or 0, sir. Yes, correct, sir?
Correct. So this should be in a binary format. To use a bitwise operator, this is happening as a binary format. And if I'll print this, this will do the XOR operator after, like, so suppose tell me what is the binary format of 10. We'll use our code here. So how this is working? 1010, right? What is the binary format of 4? 1010. This is 100, 100, right? So what is happening? What will happen here? 1010 and 100, right? So here, after converting this, it will do a XOR B. That means when both are same, it will be 0. When both are different, it will be 1. After doing this, after having the result in forms of 0, 1, 1, then again you convert from binary to what? Decimal point. Okay. So after converting, you will find the value equal to 14. Okay. And so this is how the bitwise operator works, guys. Okay. So the point is here, you have to convert the decimal point to binary, perform this and or XOR not, whatever you want. After that, whatever result you will get, you convert that to decimal, then you show the output. Okay, so maybe sometimes it is confusing for you to how this is 14, how this output and all. Always remember, it converts in the background to the binary format, then performing the action of and or, then converting to decimal, because that then only you will get the value. So whenever you use a bitwise operator, don't get surprised if you are expecting something else, because it is converting bitwise. That's why it is called bitwise. Okay, it convert to binary, make it as a bit, and then performing the operation. I hope this is clear. Making sense, right? So now you are getting some idea on the operators, right? Now here assignment operators we already saw, guys. This one, assignment operator. What does this assignment operator? When you say equal to, that means you are storing some value. When you say plus equal to, that means a equal to a plus 10. Similarly, minus equal to means a equal to a minus 10. So this means a equal to a plus 10, right? Similarly, you can do for all the arithmetic operators. Okay, so that means this and a plus 10. Are you getting how it was written here? So this is divisible, and this a equal to a divisible this, modulo this, okay, floor modulus this, a equal to a to the power 10. If I write this, if I write this like this, a star equal to 10, what does this mean? A equal to a to the power 10. Right? Any questions on this one? It is easy to understand, right? Now, guys, these are not in your modules actually, but I felt like these are very basic things that you need to understand if you're starting from the scratch. That's why I'm just explaining these notes, because you will see, okay, once you go deep into the code, you will see these uses, okay, and this will make your life easy. Okay, once you understand right now, then in future the code explanation will be very easy to you. Now this identity operator is also very important here. What it is doing actually? It is checking whether the number are equal to each other or not. When I say equal to means it is taking the same memory location in the system or not. Okay, so I define a equal to 5, b equal to 5. Okay, when I say print a is b, what does that mean? It is checking whether a and b are referring to the same object. That means, is it taking the same memory location? Now how to know the memory location? If you remember, id function, right? ID of something will tell you the memory location. Now this a is b means, that means whether a and b are taking the same location or not. Okay, if that is the case, then it is true. Okay, now can you tell me, okay, so already the results are there, but can you tell me what should be the result of this line of code if my L1 equal to a list of 1 2 3, L2 equal to list of L2 1 2 3? What should be the value for this? What should be the result of this? L is L2. Whether this is taking the same location, L1 and L2?
No, different location.
Sorry?
Memory address will be different.
Correct. Now you might be saying like these are same, right? So L1 is L2 should be true, but this is not the case. Okay, this is not the case. You can see it is false. Why? Because when you created a L1, this is a separate list. When you create a L2, this is a separate list. Although the elements inside the list are same, but the object you created L1 and L2 are pointing to different what? Memory location. That's why L1 is not L2. That means it is not occupying the same location. But if you see L1 equal to, that means using the operator, if you want to check, that means it will check the element inside it. And then it will say true. Making sense here? And if you say, I just wrote some name here, Satish. Actually, these were my mentors. When my mentor was making the notes, they made Satish. Okay. So if you see here, S1 is a string, S2 is a string, S1 is not, S2 is false. Why? Because these are same memory location. And mark here, is and is not will help you to get whether the two variables or the object. Okay, now what is the object and class? Again, that is a also like a pretty much you need to understand what is the object and what is a class. Okay, so we are creating object from the string class. Okay, so this S1 is an object from the string class. S2 is the object from the string class. Now both the object are taking the same location or not. To verify that, you can use S1 is S2 or S1 is not S2. So if I'll make S1 is to S2, that will be true, right? Okay, so these are your operator. And okay, one more are there, membership operator. Guys, what is the time? Okay, I'll take a few more minutes, guys. Okay, like, okay, so this membership operation is also very important here. In and not in. Okay, guys, in and not in. So whenever you want to check any number inside a list, and you write whether I want to see whether one is present inside the list or not. So immediately if you write print one in list, that means it is getting iterate over the list. Yeah. Okay, so that means it is iterating over the list and checking whether one is present inside the list or not. Now this is an important observation or operation here. Whenever you progress with the course and do the coding, you can see this will make your life a lot easier. Instead of write a for loop and check whether the number is existed in the list or not, you just simply write one in the list or any number that you want to check. Suppose you want to check whether 3 is there or not, 3 in the list, and it will return you a Boolean value. So instead of writing a for loop and go, so how to write a for loop for this same task, guys? Can you tell me quickly? For num in list, if num equal to 3, then print num. Right? So see, guys, what I am doing here, I want to check whether 3 is there or not, right? But here by writing a single line 3 in list, I got a Boolean value. That means 3 is already existed. Okay, so if you just want to check inside the list some items, you can use this in, and exactly same as not in, right? If you want to see some element is present inside the list, suppose you have a big list, okay, and you want to check whether this element is present or not. So if this is not inside the list, then do this. If it is inside the list, then do that, like this. So in and not in is the membership operator, and it will be very useful when you write complex codes. Okay, because without iterating over the loop or the list, you are getting the information whether that any specific element present or not present inside the list. Right? Suppose let's define a dictionary here. Dictionary is this. If you remember, this is the key, this is the value, right? So print 1 in D is true. That means it is checking whether your dictionary is having a key named 1. Now if I do 3, it will be false. Just to check whether, so now when I use in the dictionary, then what value it is checking? The key values.
So not in is the actual opposite to the in, or what? I've lost
correct.
here.
So not in means you are checking whether that element is not present. So suppose I want to see whether in the dictionary 5 is there or not. So what I'll write, 5 not in. So that means this is giving me true based on your requirement. Whether you want to use in or not in, that depends on your requirement, how you are constructing the logic.
One more, sir. Difference between is and in. They both are same or different?
Correct. This is a very basic and fundamental question. Again, I'll explain. Okay. So is means it will check the memory location, not the element. Okay, not the element here, not the element inside this. Okay, the location of the object, memory location. If memory location is same, it will return true or it will return false. Making sense, right?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, but here in means it will iterate over the elements, not checking the location.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Okay, so very basic thing, guys. So once you go through this notes again, I think like so there is a standard you follow. Like my mentor told me when I started. So when you do reading, you complete first time reading, you complete 30%. Okay, one second time you will bit more, you will memorize, that is 40%. Third time it will be 80%. Okay, so after some time you need not to remember it, it will keep in your mind forever. Because so that's why we need to practice what we learned here. That is also one important thing. So I would like to suggest what I followed. Please go through the notes again, okay, after the session or whenever you have some free time. Okay, try to grasp it. Then only this will be in your mind forever. Because these are the basic things, guys. Like those who are writing complex codes, they are not doing something extraordinary or some extra things. They are writing these things using these concepts only. But the weight and the logic will be vary from person to person. Okay, but I thought that I would have covered a bit more, but I don't think it will be there. Session 3. I don't want to rush because if I'll okay, sorry, here 3, right? Function. So our next topic should be function, guys. But let me see whether we'll be able to complete quickly or else we'll want rush. Okay, what do you say, guys? Are you okay to go ahead or we can continue tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, so I am also feeling the same, guys. Because
Yeah,
let's
like
not
there is a lot to put in the mind right now.
Too much
correct.
overload will also be problem, Ashish.
The system will crash, right?
Yeah, there is
Yeah,
a lot of
exactly.
load.
Agree, guys, agree. But yeah, but
Yeah.
we have to finish the schedule. But as long as I am taking the session, then I think it won't be a problem. So once the mentor will be changed, then I think because see, guys, what happened? And the initially 40 minutes was explanation, right? So 2 hour and this explanation is like again it's a tight schedule. And if you take 40 minutes for explaining something else, then again we lack few topics for the session. But that is not a problem. The thing is, our aim is to understand this perfectly because this is the first time you are doing and we should not be rushed. I totally agree, guys. My brain also needs some rest now. I totally woke up and didn't do any breakfast and started here.
And
Okay.
Ashish, also regarding that code kata stuffs, you will let us know when we need to start or what?
No. You start doing it immediately because now you're able to do small codings.
Okay.
Because
That's what we are asking because I've seen there is some input and output stuffs where they run all those. So that's what I'm asking. Like, do we able to it? Like, if we have any doubt, clarification on that,
you can ask.
okay.
You can ask me definitely.
Sure.
So those questions, but that's why like Ruby is providing a good platform here by providing code kata. When I started, I used to code like there are different platforms also where you write code and you see the results. Okay, and when you go for some interviews also, when there is a coding round, a few people, few companies or organizations, they provide their own environment like code kata. So you should be familiar with code kata and how it is getting wrote, because in the platform, in the left hand side you have to write the code, in the right hand side you have to show the results. So this practice also you need to make. And please guys, once you started doing coding, please mark down the times, okay, because this is also very important thing. You will get a limited time in the interview, like suppose like I'm talking about a freelancing site and a remote working setup called Turing. Okay, Turing is there. Lots of remote companies are there now working, because of like I want to work remotely because of my family, so that's why I'm exploring these things. And they will give you half an hour to do a 2 questions. That means in 15 minutes you have to write a complete code on 1 question. So as you guys are starting, it will be very easy for you. Okay, and mark the timings when you do the coding, how much time you are taking for do 1 question. And if you will continue like this, no, I am pretty much sure that at the end you will be able to do the coding 2 questions. 2 questions in the sense that it will be a medium level questions, not beginner level. You are now at beginner level, then you will go to the intermediate level, then the expert level. But the questions the companies will all will come from the intermediate level, right? And for the intermediate level standard, you have to complete a intermediate level question within 15 minutes. Okay, so make a practice if you are going for coding and all. Okay, because I also did the same. And again, Ruby provided you all the facilities here. They have provided the platform, and they are also providing some points and all if you will successfully complete the code and all, right? And you can be awarded based on that points, right? So please start doing. Okay, so what I'll do.
Like you said about break and continue statements, right? So in a for loop, you said like you can use else after the for loop or else after a while loop. So if you use break or continue, we'll be able to use this else. And
yes, you can do that. You can do that. In the else block, you can also write a break and continue.
But no. So like if in the for loop, I've used the break statement. So since I've used the break statements inside the for loop, will I be able to use the else after the for loop?
Yes,
because
you
I'm
can.
breaking the for loop in between, right?
So after the for loop, you want to use a else statement, right?
That is inside the for loop, but I'm doing a break. Yes.
So when you type break, that will come out of that loop. That will stop executing the loop. But what is outside the loop, that is doesn't matter, or that is bothered by a break statement. Are you getting my point?
That is applicable to even continue also.
Continue also. It is applicable to continue also. Okay. So better you try to do. I'm not sure about code kata whether you have any question on continue or break. But again, there are some other sites also. If you go what is that, lead code and all, so there also they have provided these sample questions. Start from the beginner level questions and do this break and continue. You will get the questions and try to solve that. Okay, like write a code using break and continue. So solve that question, solve a for and loop wala question, and try to implement this with a break and continue. Then this will cover your for loop concept, break concept, continue concept, everything, like I did here. Okay. Now this code can be written without continue and break. Okay, this code can be written without break and continue. Same thing will happen. So please keep in mind, you can write a code in various way, but you should achieve the end result, but with less time complexity. Try to do. And if any any problem in the code kata course, you can ask here. We can discuss.
So just
Okay.
one more question.
Yeah.
So you explained is and equal to, no? In
Yeah.
that, the second example you have given, string example. Can you just?
Yeah, sure.
That string example was there, no?
Let me open. That's Satish, right? Satish wala example, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, yes.
Is
So
it
initially you mentioned like is will check the address, memory location like that.
correct?
That's why
Correct.
when L1 is L2, that is false. But in second case, S1 is S2, that is coming like true, right? Why so? That I didn't get actually.
Sure, definitely, guys. So you are asking about this, right? This or this? Because
First
this
part
is
is clear actually. L1 is L2. That example you mentioned, it is checking the memory location. That's why it is false because they are in
okay.
two different locations. But in the second case, S1 is S2.
This is true, right? This is not false. This is true.
So using so when we are using is, it will check the memory location, right?
Correct. Okay. I got your confusion. I totally got your confusion. Again, thanks for this question. See, guys, this is just the difference between the list and string here. So when you are typing a string, this is taking the same location. But if you are creating different list with different name, this is creating in a different location. Okay, so because of this list you created, that's why L1 is L2 is false. If we will remove this list, okay, or if we will keep any single number or Satish or anything, this will be at the same location.
Is this only for list or double dictionary for all?
Great. So you can immediately check for that, right? So now it is tuple, right? So now it is tuple. Now let's see. So that means again, that is to understand this 100%, you need to understand what is a class and what is an object. Okay, that also we are going to cover. So that means always remember this list, okay, list, tuple. If you see the color, it getting changed, it is blue. So this means these are the classes. Okay, classes. So when you create a variable from this list or tuple class, whether it contains same element or not, that is occupying different memory location. That is the point here. List, tuple, when you this is called containers. That means list is also a container, right? It contains elements. Tuple is a container. So when you are assigning different variable name to a containers containing different elements, there the location is getting changed. That is the main point here. Rest everything you'll be able to understand because these are the same thing. But this is not a container, right? This is just a value. Here this is not a container. This is just a value 5. So when just a value, it is true. But when you are using a container, the location is being changed respective it is having the same element. That is the point here.
All right. Thank you.
Great. Any other question? So how many we covered today? Like how many notes I have to upload for today's session? One is, I think, actually I was mistaken that I need to start from 2.3 actually. But thanks to you guys, you remember. So 2.2, 3, 4, 5, right? These 4 files you need to be uploaded in your drive, right? Right, guys? Do you have the drive information, right? I need not to ping it in the chat, or do I need to provide you the link? Do you have that, right? The G drive link?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'll do, I will upload right now, okay, after the session, because sharing the screen and uploading will, bit slow for my system. I will do. Okay. Any other question, or we'll wind up? So also guys, as we missed the session tomorrow, so this week we'll cover till Friday then, that you are aware, right? So this
So
week
we are not informed.
this
It is usually from Monday to Thursday.
so because I traveled to IIT Delhi and came back yesterday morning, so that's why I didn't able to take morning. So that's why they informed me that they scheduled it from Tuesday to Friday, just for this week.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I thought like you guys are informed before me. Great.
No.
So I am getting the information before you then. Okay. 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 So then it will, this week it is Tuesday to Friday. We'll compensate the yesterday's class on Friday. Okay. Then we'll wind up then. It's all okay. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so
thank you.
much.
Yeah, Ashish.
Okay,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Have a good day.